They don't give a crap about this country. They really don't care. They left the borders open in the first place. Hey, it's Rich again. I'm going to be talking about the border and what's going on there and anything related to the border. But first, I want to follow up with my last podcast, which was about how the press hid from or tried to hide from the public Biden's cognizant decline. It was so bad. I heard a couple of interviews. One was with Chuck Todd, who used to run Meet the Press for NBC. He was always very much a liberal. I saw him interviewed. He's left NBC now, and he's on his own with a podcast. Everybody's starting podcasts. So anyway, he said that's all a Republican lie about the press trying to hide Biden's cognizant disabilities. He said no one could see it. No one was aware of it. He seemed sharp. Biden seemed sharp. And it's just a right-wing conspiracy to try to help them get votes. How stupid is that? I mean, what the hell is wrong with this guy? The public could see Biden. We could see him following up the stairs. We could see him when he finished the speech, walking around, didn't know which way to go and who to shake hands with.
This is not a media failure. This is a failure of the Democratic Party. And I just sort of the virtue signaling that some people have done to try to say that the media missed this story. They didn't miss this story. David Ignatius wrote, I just refuse to accept this stupid premise because it's a right-wing, manufactured right-wing premise in order to stain the media. The media's got plenty of things to attack them for, and there are MSNBC and CNN and pundits that absolutely carried water for Joe Biden.
Really?
Yeah, we saw him calling out, as Jackie here, who has been dead for 2 months, a congresswoman that he knew. And he knew she died, but still he's calling out her name. We didn't see that. And then who else? Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki was the press secretary for the first couple of years for Biden. She was very close to him. I saw her interviewed. She said, I never saw any decline in him. He seemed sharp as could be.
I never saw that person, not a single time, and I was in the Oval Office every day, that was on that debate stage. I'm not a doctor. Aging happens quite quickly. Were things that people saw during that period of time that were similar to that or would have been in a category of that? I don't know, possibly, right?
And all these people are saying we covered it up. It's not a cover up. We just did not see it. You could not see it. She said, I'm not a doctor, so I could not have analyzed that. Again, how stupid. How stupid. A guy rambling around, walking away in a crowd. If they didn't hold on to him, he would have kept walking for blocks and blocks, not knowing where he was going. The poor guy suffers from dementia. They never should have let him get involved. They should have made him resign. He actually suffered from it when he first ran for office in 2020. Remember that? The jokes were he's in his basement. He never came out. He used COVID as a reason why he couldn't come out and campaign. Trump got out there and campaigned, even though he lost. That was why, one of the reasons you wonder about that election, because Biden never went out. And this mysterious 20 million extra Democrat voters came out that year for Biden, but they didn't come out last year. So who were those people? What were those votes? So anyway, I wanted to get that off my chest. Now on to the border crossing. Here is what it looked like back in 2024 when Biden and his Mayorkas kept saying that the border is closed, it's closed, it's closed.
With Donald Trump just weeks away from returning as president, the latest migrant caravan to pass through southern Mexico is made up of about 1,500 people, all trying to reach the United States before there's a new man in the White House. It's the third one in the last month alone.
Here's an example of the people coming up and getting through the border. On a daily basis, they were pouring in. Now, I want to show you examples of what the border looks like today.
It's a border fraught with tension. The wall separating Mexico and the United States stands as a stark symbol of America's new message: migrants out.
So now we've got 10 or 15 million, we think, people, illegal immigrants in this country, committing crimes, raping little girls, whatever. There was a guy from Brooklyn and raped a corpse on a subway in New York. I mean, how disgusting. I can't even stand saying it. And the New York Times reported that this person did it. They refused to put in that it was an illegal immigrant. So the left is still hiding. They hide whatever they want to hide. They're now hiding that all these illegal immigrants are committing crimes around here. Not all of them, but I mean, there's tons of them doing it. So Trump is doing what he said he would do and why he was elected. This was the number one issue for him. He's trying to get these people out of the country, deport them. What's going on? Then the left goes in and gets all these left-wing lawyers and judges, and they're holding them up. They're holding them up. So we got to do something about it. I just heard this morning Trump may reopen Alcatraz. It's sitting there not doing anything. Maybe he's going to start putting these people there. If he can't deport them, put them there until he can find out how to deport them. The left is saying everyone deserves due process. Due process means you get an attorney, you have a right to an attorney, taxes pay for that, and the attorney then puts together a plea, they go to the judge schedules it. It may be years, months, years in the future that they can follow up. So what's going to happen? These 10 to 15 million are going through the due process. That means our courts are all tied up. So American citizens who have reasons that they want to get into court can't get there. They're backed up by all these illegal immigrants. That's how stupid the left is. They don't give a crap about this country. They really don't care. They left the borders open in the first place. So I think Trump had the right idea. I hope he just tells the courts to go to hell, just sends them out anyway. Let's see if they can go after the President of the United States for that. One person who was on the Gutfeld show, Tyrus, had a great idea. He said, all right, we'll give them their due process. Send them to Guatemala or wherever they're from, El Salvador. Send them there, but then have an attorney put in a plea in the U.S. for a hearing, and they'll stay down there in prison until it's scheduled, which could be years in the future. And then they'll call them if they're still alive to bring them up for their court hearing, and then they'll find them guilty and send them back. Now, you remember George Floyd a few years ago, I think it was around 2021, I can't remember, when the policeman killed him by holding his knee to his neck. It was terrible. He shouldn't have done that. He certainly killed him. So that caused riots. The left stood behind them. Even some friends of mine got into protesting these marches all over here in New Jersey. They were doing it. And I was told I should get out there. I'm not going to get out there for that guy. So that was who the Democrats latched their future on. Here is the guy. Turns out he was nothing but a thug, always committing crimes. And at one time, he broke into a woman's house, held a knife to her abdomen, demanding money from her. She will never forget that the rest of her life. She was so scared. And he got what he wanted and left. He didn't care. He laughed and left. So he was trying to spend counterfeit money when they caught him. And if he'd been obeying the law, none of that would have happened. He'd be alive today, but he didn't. So that's what the Democrats do. They latch on to a guy like that. The latest one they're latching on to is Kilmar Abrego Garcia. But he was deported, and the press, the New York Times, all of the liberal networks, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, said this Maryland father was deported illegally, and he did nothing wrong. And he's a father of 3, all this stuff. That's what they do. They jump on it before we find the facts. The Republicans, the conservatives tend to wait. They don't say a lot. Let's wait and find out. The facts come out. Well, they've come out that this guy pretty much was a member of MS-13, the most horrible gang out of South America, and they're infiltrating here. They murder, decapitate people. They're just terrible, horrible people. And he had the tattoos on him, which showed he was a member of that. He denies it. But he had 2 court hearings where both judges thought they ruled that it was apparent that he was a member of the gangs. Then his wife was saying, please bring him back. The children need him, bring him back. But then now they find a couple of years earlier, she was crying and talking about, and there's a phone call of her saying that he beat me, slapped me during the night, wake me up, slapping me. I tried to go to my daughter's birthday party and he beat me up, slapped me before I could go to that party.
USA Today posted audio today of Jennifer, Kilmar Abrego Garcia's wife, pleading with a judge to get a temporary protective order against him. This was back in August of 2020. Jennifer continues to fight today for Abrego Garcia's return, showing up to court hearings and speaking on Capitol Hill. She says she wants his safe return for their family, including a 5-year-old son they shared together. Here's that audio from 2020.
I came to fill out a protective order, I think it was in December, but I didn't show up to the court because his family washed my brain telling me that his dad was sick and not to do it. So I didn't do anything. But after that, it was I would call the police. I have a lot of police reports, and I kept trying to get to the door basement to try to open the door, and then he pushed me.
In response to the leaked audio, Jennifer issued a statement saying, after the trauma of his time in ICE detention and the struggles we faced during the pandemic, I sought a temporary protective order. But through counseling and faith, Kilmar and I healed, reunited as a stronger couple, and now our family needs him home. Of course, these allegations of abuse are deeply disturbing. They can be harrowing for a family who is experiencing them. They are not part of the legal issue at hand right now, which is the accusation that the government deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia without due process when they deported him to El Salvador, and that the Supreme Court has affirmed a Maryland judge's order that the government facilitate his release from custody in El Salvador.
A wife beater, a member of a gang, and then he was stopped one time with 8 people in his car, not his car. I don't know how he got away on that, but they know now that it was human trafficking. He was driving across the country with 8 people in his car. So it was so obvious what it's like. But the Democrats, this is their guy. This is their hero. They went down to El Salvador where he was deported to and sat with him, and they're saying he's coming back. Some congressman went down there and said he is not returning until Garcia gets returned to the United States. Well, I got news for you, he's never coming back. Even though I think the Supreme Court said that we should facilitate his coming back. Facilitate, what does that mean? Sweep the broom around the airplane, the tarmac when he gets here. But the problem is the president of El Salvador said he's not going to send him back. He's a terrorist. He's keeping him there. He's not going to how can he send a terrorist to the United States? He won't do it. So our courts can't make him do anything. So that's what's happening with him. One last thing, I saw where some congressman said that the Republicans passed a bill in the Judiciary Committee making it legal for Trump to deport American citizens. Just think how dumb that is. Deport American citizens. Deport means you return them to their country of origin. American citizens' country of origin is here. So how can we deport American citizens? What do we do? Send them to Baltimore or to Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, or wherever? That is so dumb. Well, I did a fact check on it and said there's no such thing. Democrats have made that up and they're passing that around. So if you hear anything about it, it's a bunch of crap. Okay, see how happy I am? Thanks a lot, and until next time, take it easy.